Yo, what's up guys? Inko here. This is going to be my 3.16 Scourge League starter, Hexblast Ignite Elementalist. We're just going to go ahead and straight jump into a map, show you guys what it's like, mapping, and then the boss damage. Mind you, this is like a fraction of the damage that we're going to be doing next league because of the buffs to Ignite and also getting Flame Surge. And also some changes to damage over time mods and everything like that. I believe this is currently like, I want to say 5 million damage total Ignite DPS. The next version, we're going to actually end up being 75% block, attack block, and then I believe 50 spell block. We're also taking a new Templar Keystone. We're going to be hybrid, energy shield, and life, and stacking a bunch of armor with a new determination. We're going to have pretty high armor. And I'll talk about the rotations for doing the damage and everything after this boss. And obviously, because we were using punishment, once you get the boss to low life, it starts to melt a lot faster. So that was a tier 16 map. Just did it pretty quick. Nothing at all special. Like level 19 gems. I don't even have quality on like all of them for the most part. Really jank early starter gear. Like nothing special. Janky clusters, which we're actually not even going to be using all these clusters next league. And like I said, I believe this was 5 million Ignite DPS, which tested at the end Expedition League, even on Awakening rate and everything. Killed bosses no problem. So this is now the current iteration with the new tree update and everything. Currently, we do not have the new Hexblast in here, which it gives us more base damage, which is really big for Ignites because now instead of the 50% over 4 seconds for base Ignite, we're at 125%. So all flat and like fire, elemental, and burning damage are insane for this build. They add a lot of damage. So as you can see, this... One thing I want to talk about, this is currently bugged. So Safeguard adds nothing. So in the configuration, I added 15% chance to block spells because currently in PoB, this is not working. It gives you the resistances, but it does not change your spell block, which chance to block spell damage while holding a staff or shield. We're obviously using a staff, so it is just currently not working. So that's why in the configuration, you just have 15% chance to block spells. As far as the build goes, probably going to be leveling, well, depending on how Flame Surge is, we haven't gotten the gems yet. Probably your best bet's still going to be Armageddon brand, but if Flame Surge is really strong early on, honestly, like Flame Wall and Flame Surge, because you get both of them early, carry you all the way to 28 until you get Armageddon brand and like Cremation or even Hexblast. Hexblast should be really good too, starting and just leveling without the whole way. But this is like optional. Obviously, we're not going to have intuitive leap, so these are just extra block nodes. You know, once you can actually get one. Not sure about the prices in that. So that's kind of just like the one in the air expensive thing in this build. We take extra exposure because we already expose a lot, and we're using the Eye of Malice mask, which basically, however minus the fire is our damage, and however minus that enemy resistance is, it basically multiplies it by 1.5. So it further reduces their resistance, and it's actually really big. So we have the Wave of Conviction, we have Mastermind of Discord, and then we are also using Elemental Weakness and Flammability. So we have Elemental Weakness and Punishment. Don't mind Despair, that's disabled. I can remove that. Elemental Weakness and Punishment, and then we are self-casting Flammability with our Impending Doom, which is just some nice more damage, and it also applies our combustion because we don't use that in our main link. And so the resists are really minus, so then it gets further in the negative because it's multiplied by Eye of Malice, which really strong starter unique item, dirt cheap, not going to cost like anything. Acrimony is a new node, really strong, a lot of damage over time multiplier. The one thing I'm still we're probably going to end up anointing Searing Heat because honestly, pathing over here and taking these nodes, as nice as it is, it just feels like such a waste that I just don't think we do, and we anoint Searing Heat. But if you want to put more points, take Searing Heat. You can definitely do that, and then you can anoint later on Dirty Techniques. Obviously, this is a golden oil, so it's going to cost a bit. Obviously, I took out all the clusters because I want this to be as budget and like beginner friendly as possible to league start. And the one thing that's like up in the air is Intuitive Leap. You could kind of throw Martyr of Innocence in there, but this is fairly common, and I think at league start it's normally maybe like 5 to 10 C. Not really seeing many people talk about it with the Ignite changes, which is kind of weird because it's pretty insane, but you still have Searing Touch and everything out there. And for leveling, you can use Ash Callers, any weapon with high increased fire damage, or like a shield for that case too. Those are going to carry you pretty well. But just fan the flames. Obviously, whatever notable later on. But fan the flames is how we are spreading our ignites. So we're not using like Aberrus Hooves. We're not using Barracks, which you could, because Barracks would stack with fan the flames, but don't think it's needed at all with the clear. It's pretty nice. We're using an Enduring Composure because we are stacking armor on here. We're hybrid life ES, so around like 4k life, 1500 ES, and 27k armor. Mind you, that is with the roomies enabled, so more like 20k. We have the Quicksilver on because this is simulating the new Determination, giving you flat armor. So those are the values without the roomies on. And then we are also taking Divine Shield, which this new notable is really nice. So 3% of the fizz damage you would take from a hit is regened as your ES. So for a build like ours, where we don't have much ES regen, this is really nice because we're going to be preventing a lot of damage because we have a lot of armor and a lot of fizz mitigation. You can also throw in like a Chaos Golem or a Stone Golem, whatever you want for regen. And that is going to be really nice for sustaining and keeping our ES healthy. Later on, to buff this even further, you can use a, I forget the name of it, the Legion Jewel with Corrupted Soul, which takes us to 50% bypasses. And then that means that you're taking more damage that would be prevented from your armor. And so that means you're going to be regenerating more. Basically, there's like no reason not to take this. And this node also is very insane for us. We're recovering 2% of ES when we block spell damage, and 2% of life when we block attack damage. And we have quite high spell block and attack block, especially when we have our roomies on. We are at 70 block chance and 45 spell block. So quite nice. This is now insane, this wheel, and then you take the Reservation Mastery because it allows us to have Malevolence, Defiance Banner, Determination, and Skitterbots. You can mix and match, change whatever ones you want, but basically being able to have... Oh, also, the reason why you can fit Determination, because normally it's like you can fit 2 50 gems and a 35, but we take Determination, Mana Reservation Efficiency here. So that lets us fit in basically a 50, a 50, 35, and a 10 from Defiance Banner. Let's see what else to talk about here. Tree's pretty much the same otherwise. This one I am thinking about taking because this should be quite nice. So for 1 point, I think we probably will take that to help with Energy Shield, keeping it up in combination with Divine Shield and the Snap Mastery node. We also have the Endurance Charge here. Just using basic jewels that'll be updated next league. You can make these quite easily with Scourge Fossils. They all have the fire tag. No life on them. I don't want it to be super expensive. Hexblast, we're running Deadly Ailments, Swift Affliction, Burning Damage, Unbound Ailments, and Inspiration. Inspiration you can kind of change and mix and match depending if you're using Skitterbots in that. Hypothermia is not a bad choice too. Just the basic flammability, combustion to help with our damage. So our auras, like I said, we're running Malevolence, Defiance Banner, Determination Skitterbots. And Steel Skin. Steel Skin for leveling because it'll give us bleeding immunity. Realistically, I'll probably be leveling with Purity of Elements just to be immune to all ailments and give us resist so we don't have to worry about it as much on gear. It's going to be really strong to level with next league. But once you're actually into like this version, you will swap Steel Skin to Molten Shell. It'll further give us a lot more armor and tankiness. And then our exposure, just Wave of Conviction. So, and then whatever movement skill you want. So currently we don't know about Flame Surge. We don't know if it can scale. We don't know if we can support it with gems. I think the general consensus is it's going to kind of be like Plague Bearer. So probably going to do like something like this. Do Arcanist Brand, Wave of Conviction, and a Flame Surge. Because if it can't be supported by gems, it's just easier quality life. That's one less button. Well, technically two less for you to push if you just slap it in Arcanist Brand. So that might be the move. But again, we don't have, you know, the gems yet. So config, we just have Cirrus, Burning, Enemy Low Life. You can take this off if you don't want to see the extra damage from Punishment. But because of the punishment changes, 50%, very easy to get that punishment going. It is very strong. Only 40 Doom because 30 base and Skittering Runes. Obviously now there's buffs to let the, I forget the essence, but you can get 10 max Doom on an amulet, which is a very big buff. And then on top of that, like anomalous flammability and other stuff, but keeping this budget friendly in that. So yeah, Martyr of Innocence, Eye of Malice, whatever chest with some decent armor or ES, and 6 link, you can get like a corrupted one in that. Vixens for the extra curse, Windscream for the extra curse again. Obviously later on you can get these to Wind Shriek for bigger AoE of your curses, your Bane and your flammability. We were initially using Vixens to then apply the curses, but the nice thing about using Bane, and you can, mind you, if you want to put these Elemental Weakness and Punishment in the gloves and just, you know, be lazy and do flammability, I did that for a while. This just basically gives you a little extra damage because with Bane, you're still going to gain Doom on these curses. And so for 1 Doom, you gain 1% effective curse. So your LE Weakness and Punishment are going to get further boosted by that. So just some nice extra damage. Here we just have a basic fire damage over time multiplier. Also, these values are getting buffed next league, so this is kind of outdated. And Anointed Searing Heat. We have a Pyre, just augmented. This actually gives a lot of damage. The downside is, if you were going to want to use Barracks, the ignited enemies you hit are destroyed on kill. Could affect your proliferations. So you could take this off and replace it with something. Just a basic resistance ring, just an ES belt, whatever flask. Like I said, we have the Quicksilver to add the extra armor that we get from Determination next patch. Hermes is enabled. Same jewels, Enduring Composure. This is really going to help our tankiness on top of that because we're already stacking armor. So when you get hit, you gain 1 endurance charge every second. And we're going to have a max of 4 because we take this node, just 1 point. Why wouldn't you? 4 endurance charges. They give 4% increased phys reduction and 4 auras. So very nice. They're going to be up a lot of the time. Other than that, don't think I'm missing anything. But yeah, this is all very budget friendly. Obviously later on in the game, we're more than likely, it just depends how Flame Surge is going to interact with like Black Flame and that. But probably going to go Occultist. Make ourselves a lot more tanky because Occultist already has like ES nodes in that. Maybe slap in a Blasphemy for some extra defense. We're already quite tanky. Decent ES, decent life. And again, like this is like a bunch of uniques, so not really good life stats and everything on there. But yeah, we're obviously still waiting on the Flame Surge to see what that's like. Hexblast is not updated in PoB also. So we're just kind of waiting on more stuff. But this is more than likely definitely going to be my starter. It already played really well at the Ignite Expedition League before the Ignite buffs and, you know, changes to Hexblast and the changes to Flame Surge. end game, we'll probably end up changing stuff around, and like your end goal would probably be Kana Kulamac or some insane weapon shield. I probably wouldn't go dual wield. You're going to lose too much defenses. Ignite build's already inherently pretty squishy. So that's why I opted to cut a lot of damage, actually, instead of like, you know, just a bunch of clusters, more damage and stuff. I want my League starter to feel comfortable and cozy mapping. But hey, if you want to go full DPS and, you know, take off all these defensive nodes, put in whatever fire, large clusters, and then same thing with burning damage, mediums, and that, by all means, go for it. It's just not what I like. I like a very comfortable League starter, and this by no means has bad damage. Like, these are pretty nice, and this is not factoring in your Flame Surge. So, very cheap items, nothing expensive. I think this is going to be a very good League starter. I'll probably make an update to what the build's going to turn into, because this is obviously the budget version. And like I said, leveling, honestly, Flame Wall and like Flame Surge is probably going to carry you all the way to 28, and you can do like Armageddon Brand, Cremation. IMXL recently did a leveling with that, and I have tested it multiple times too. It is very good. A little more button intensive than most people might like, possibly, but with the changes to Ignite, I think just going Ignite and stuff, you're going to be more than fine, and just getting like values of Flat Fire, Elemental, stuff like that, it should carry you through the axe very easy. So yeah, that's my build. I'll leave a link to it below. All the links, blah, blah, blah. You guys know all the stuff. Until then, hope you guys have a good Scourge, 3.16 League start, and I'll see you guys later.